Yo, what is up gamers? My name is Russ. Welcome back to another commentary. Today I'm going to be teaching you how to play Havoc Demon Hunter in Tazavesh streets. Now as usual, I'm going to be taking you through my own gameplay, pack by pack, commentating over the top of it, and I'm going to be letting you in on my decision making process, what went well, what didn't go so well, why I did the things that I did, any useful tips or anything like that. And I'm hoping that by the end of this video, you'll be going away having learned a thing or two, so in the next Tazavesh key that you try, you can be the guy making plays. So grab yourself a nice drink and let's get into it. As the key counts down, I'll quickly throw my gear, my talents and my soul binds on screen for you. Pause it if you need to. And I am playing the Cycle of Hatred raid build with a triple potency conduit on Nadia, playing Dancing with Fate as my third potency. Now as you'll see, my death sweep damage actually does come into its own in this key, even without playing First Blood. But I will put a link to my full breakdown video of this build in the description down below, and also in the pinned comments if you do want to check that out. It does include a rotation section too. So as usual, we are taking crit from the broker, and as we go into the first pack, what you want to be watching out for is the Radiant Pulse. So on the first one we actually go for the AMZ, and on the second one I'm saving my Darkness for. So I actually pop pretty much all my cooldowns. Actually went for meta. Usually I will use my pre-meta for the key on this pack, and then I will use my actual meta on the second pack. But this time we had a little bit of trouble with this guy. Our healer got meleeed last time and things like that, so I just went for the safe pick and just used my meta straight away onto this pack, and it should be back up for a bigger pack in a little bit. So if you do get a second Radiant Pulse, as we do here, I'm chucking my Darkness down. You can also use your blur and things. I use my blur on the first and my Darkness on the second, and we mixed the personals with the AMZ on the first one. Now the security guys, I don't really do too much. In this key, you just want to be purging whenever you can, especially the shields on the next set of trash. I think it's the officers that do that one. And this is actually my plus 27 tyrannical run. I also have a plus 27 fortified run on this key, in which I play the gambler build actually, but I opted to upload the tyrannical because I thought there's a little bit more that can go wrong in a tyrannical key. The bosses can get quite difficult, I guess, in tyrannical. The post boss, also the menagerie boss as well, can be quite difficult. And the first boss as well has a lot of HP. As you'll see, we have a little trick to that boss, so that we can increase our DPS on it a little bit more by completely negating the effects of the cage that he does, as I'll show you in just a second. But yeah, these packs pretty similar. All of these mobs in the first room, they have like the same mechanics. So the security guards are going to put up a little buff on themselves. You can purge that one off. The specialists just need kicking every now and then. They're going to do like a casted kind of standard bolt mechanic on the tank. And then the officers are going to, they have two casts. I think they also do the bolt cast, and then I think they put up a shield on themselves. Now the shield I think reflects damage, so that's like the most important purge to do. You can purge that one with a Blood Elf Silence if you're a Horde DH, or you can use your built-in Demon Hunter purge for that as well. So sometimes if my purge is up, I'll just use my normal purge. If I did my Blood Elf and I actually got a triple purge. I got like 3 barriers down in one, so that was a really good global, to be honest. Open up with the explosives, and when those beam splices come out, as you see those spinning white beams that just spin around clockwise in a circle, you just want to be moving away from those. If you do get hit by them, pop a blur because they really do hurt. You can jump over them, double jump over them and things like that as well, but your tank should probably just move the pack away from them. You kind of just slowly kite the mobs around this room to give yourself a little bit more space. So just keeping on the officers, I think they're probably the higher priority target here. Getting the infiltrator down when you can, obviously, because that one heals a lot. Yeah, this run I'm actually playing Dancing with Fate conduit with Cycle of Hatred build, so that's why I'm using Death Sweep so much. Usually I wouldn't. I'm trying out a new build which I actually think has actually improved my damage a little bit. So there, when we pull Zodar, Portalmaster Zodar, we are line of sighting. He does a Radiant Pulse right off the bat, which is the same as the first mob that we pulled in the dungeon, so we can actually line of sight that on the corner. So that's why we stay back, line of sight the first one, and then every 20 to 25 seconds or so he's going to do another one. So we're tanking. As you can see, our tank he has the blue square above his head, taking him quite close to the wall, So next time he casts Radiant Pulse, we can actually just run behind and line of sight. Here it is. I'm not going to foul rush it. Okay, apparently I didn't see it coming, or I just didn't see it worth going for. But the interrupts on this guy, you don't need to worry too much about the Hyperlight Bolt interrupt, but it's the Glyph of Empowered or something. That one is a super important kick. So yeah, that one, Empowered Glyph of something, is quite a quick cast. Make sure if there's one interrupt you're going for, it's that one. So personally for me, I always save my kick for that one. Anyone else can kick the Hyperlight Bolts and things like that, but they don't really do that much to the tank. So just go for the Empowered Glyph. That one, if you know, especially if you're pugging, that one's going to be the one that's potentially going to wipe you. It's going to do a big AoE magic debuff on the entire group if it does go through. And on Fortify, that's pretty much going to wipe you, or at least cause a couple deaths. So be aware for that one. We're now just doing this pack of 3 while we wait for our tank to get his Dancing Rune weapon back. And then he's going to chain pull in the boss, and I'm going to let rip with my meta. Now, as I spoke about, we got a little trick for this, and I'll tell you about that now. Now, I haven't used my potion on pull here because, as I mentioned, we are actually doing a little trick to increase our damage on this boss. So we're actually all running this potion called Potion of Unhindered Passing. We're keeping it in our bag. And if you get the interrogation effect, I guess the healer and the tank don't need this one, but if you're a DPS, there's a nice little trick you can do. But it does share a cooldown with damage potions, invis potions, and things like that. As you see here, I get the interrogation. I'm going to click my Potion of Unhindered Passing, and it's basically going to act like I'm in an ice block. So you might have seen hunters, mages, you know, use immunities on this cast. So if you ice block before he actually starts the interrogation, you know, there's a period where he winds it up and you've got to run away and place the cage somewhere. If you actually ice block during that cast, then he will just cancel the interrogation. He'll like put it through and be like, oh, he's immune, and then it'll go on cooldown and he won't recast it, right? You might have seen people vanish it and feign death it. Then he will recast it on someone else. But if you're in an ice block or aspect of the turtle or something, he will just be like, oh, he's immune, okay. And he'll just carry on doing his thing. So this Potion of Unhindered Passing is a way that any DPS can basically get an ice block to ignore that cage mechanic. Now, not only is the cage annoying, but it also takes, firstly, it's quite dangerous. Secondly, it takes a lot of time to kill. So by immuning the cage, it means that we can just keep on hitting the boss like a target dummy at that point. So as you saw on the very first one, I got it. This one here, my second one, I sadly can't use the potion again because it has a 5-minute cooldown. So I do have to run away with this one, and my team has to come over, and you see like all this time, I'm in the cage, I can't do damage. They have to damage the cage, they can't do boss damage as well. So we're losing all 3 of our DPS on the boss at that point. Plus, you know, it's quite a lot for the healer to heal as well. So yeah, if you can dodge those, it's absolutely insane. The hunter also used his potion on the first one, and now he's got his turtle if he does happen to get it again. The rogue, if he gets it, he's going to cloak the first one, potion the second one, and if he gets it again after that, maybe he can cloak the third one. So we're all having kind of a way to get out of it. Netherwalk does not work. It's not a proper immunity. It's just a damage immunity, so it's like 100% damage reduction. So here the rogue, he cloaks it, and the boss cancels it. So I've used my potion, the hunter's used his potion, and then I've taken a cage, and the rogue has cloaked it. Now, if it goes on the hunter, he can turtle it, and if it went on him again after that, then he could feign death it, and maybe it goes on me or the rogue. If it goes on the rogue, then he could potion it, you know. So it's all about kind of like you want it ideally to go on the people with real immunities, and but if it does go on you, you can just use the potion. If it doesn't, well, you haven't really lost anything. So here I get it again. The potion's still on cooldown because it's 5 minutes, so I actually have to run away. And they were like, oh, the boss is 5%. We'll just kill the boss while you run far, and they can just stand behind the boss and kill him here. But the rogue took the frontal. He actually stood on the wrong side of the boss. So the rogue goes down here, and the hunter is just left to kill the boss with those guys. Luckily, it was so low, so it's kind of fine. If the boss was higher HP there, like 15-20%, of course they would have come and got me out, but we'd have lost some damage on it, right? Now, if the rogue hadn't gone down, the boss would have also died before it got to me, and I would have been fine. So you can also, what we were planning to do is we were planning to pull in this trash pack as well. Actually, just before I got the cage there, if the cage had gone on the hunter or the rogue or something, we'd have actually chain pulled in this trash as well. You know, it's just 2 mobs at a time. You can do those quite comfortably with the boss. So yeah, we can just pull in trash as we kill the boss. Is basically just free cleave. We're still focusing the boss and cleaving off him, so essentially they're just dying for free, and it's less time that we have to spend dedicating like, you know, one-on-one time with the trash if we just cleave them down during the boss fight there. So after we finish up those two mobs there, I'm making sure to click off my immolation aura, and we actually go for the shroud. Now yeah, you could use NG belts as well for something like that. We're doing that to skip Zolgamux, because Zolgamux takes a ton of time in a higher key like this. We, of course, you know, the trade-off is that we don't get that stack of our shrouded buff, so I'm missing out on some crit chance now, but that is absolutely fine. Zolgamux takes like 2-3 minutes. That is 2-3 minutes that we probably did have, but it's just extra, you know, it messes with the count. Our route doesn't account for it, and it takes some time. So onto the next pack, we actually go right side, and that is so that we can use our AoE classes. We obviously have an Outlaw Rogue, which is kind of specializing in 5 targets. As you can see, these pools have about 5 targets. And then Hunters, well, Hunters are insanely broken, so, you know, they do everything. They do insane single target, they do insane AoE, they do insane small target cleave. They're just good at everything right now. Hunters are absolutely completely broken, so if you have a Hunter, good for you. And yeah, we are just killing these mobs and making sure to put our interrupts into the Smuggler. Now the Smuggler is going to do something called I think it's called a Hyperlight Bomb. It's going to put a debuff on someone, which is just a magic debuff, and after like 6 or 5 seconds or something, it's going to just blow them up in a small area around them. It can be dispelled, but sometimes if you've got a couple Smugglers, you definitely want to get interrupts on them. So we're marking the Smugglers, and we're calling our interrupts for who's interrupting which Smuggler. And if you do get a bomb on you, especially on Fortified, that thing is basically a one-shot and a death sentence. You want to be popping a Blur or even another walk, or definitely making sure you're topped up with a health potion. If you do get that Hyperlight Bomb on you, it's like a little white circle around your character. And yeah, we're just making sure to get the kicks on those. And the other kicks on like the Wise Guy and thing, the Wise Guy is not too dangerous. He's just going to run around. He's going to do that thing every now and then where he like backs away, where he does like a little escape, and he's going to leave a big white circle on the ground, which is like there you go, that's the animation for it right there. Just move out of that one, and then the tank can like grip them back in, or you can move the pack over to them again to cleave them down. As you see here, the Rogue has got the Hyperlight Bomb, and he just got the Master Spell right at the end. Otherwise that would have put him in a little bit of trouble. He could probably cloak it off as well. But yeah, what you have to do, dodge the frontals on the Infiltrators, interrupt the Smugglers, and if you have extra interrupts, you can interrupt the Wise Guy as well, and just move out of the escape bomb thing he throws on the floor. As you see here, I go to interrupt this guy to move him into the pack here, because the DK I don't think had grip ready, and then again he just pings away again, and I actually died to a bleed. I think it's the Skulker. The Skulker puts like a quick blade dot on you, which is quite a heavy hitting bleed. I didn't realize that was a thing. My healer didn't realize that was a thing. So I actually just bled out quite literally. And he was apologizing profusely for letting me down there. So he's probably watching this video as well. Anyway, there you go. There's a bleed for that. So make sure you have a potion ready. I could have potioned. As you see, my potion is not on cooldown. I also had Nether Walk or something, but I honestly didn't realize I was dying. He didn't realize I was dying, so it's all Gucci. So now we have 2 minutes left on our Bloodlust debuff, so we're actually going to go for the Mail Room boss here. First pull, we pull the Peacekeeper in from the left side as you saw the tank go and grab him. And then we're going to do the first pull, pulling the first Male Mental out the door, getting a lot of damage and AoE, cleave and things like that. Obviously, the other classes do that much better than me. But here I'm probably going to pop my Trinket and maybe even my Meta on this just to get some damage going. And this room's pretty simple. If you do get a creature, as you see in this pack, we have a creature. It's marked with a skull marker. I clearly am being very oblivious and not hitting the skull marker, even though it's skulled. And people are calling, kill the creature, it's really important. And I'm just sat here like interrupting the Peacekeeper. If you see the Phalanx shield go up, you can chuck your single target stun on it, your Fell Eruption, or you can cage it or anything like that. Now I finally got the memo to kill the creature, so I do finish that one off. Tank going super low, pretty sure he popped Purgatory there. And yeah, you can use that Bubble Shield as well if you want extra damage. I actually Nether Walk here because I got a little bit scared of something. And yeah, the rest of the mail room, pretty simple. If you get the Sorters, they go over to those cages. That's how the creature spawns. So if you see the Sorter go over to the cage as you see it now, You can stun them, like the rogue put a kidney down on that one. You can imprison them. You can he got gouged there, so he'll come back to the pack now. You can again throw your fellow eruption on it or something like that, just so that it doesn't open those white cages at the side, because I'm pretty sure those creatures are very dangerous. They hit the tank pretty hard, and they sometimes it's chickens that come out and stun you, sometimes it's a creature that comes out and slaps the tank, and I don't think they even give count either way, so it's basically just completely pointless to let them open the cage. Here we go and pick up the infiltrator from around the corner. Now we're just kind of waiting for Bloodlust debuff to go off, and we want to kill the male mental last so that we can use that bubble shield for extra DPS on the boss. So again, I'm being a bit oblivious. I'm just getting it low. I'm just cleaving whatever because he's standing still. Gonna switch to the infiltrator now, I think, and finish off the rest of the pack, and then we're gonna finish that male mental and chain pull the boss into the male mental. This is bolstering and explosive, by the way, but bolstering doesn't affect bosses anymore. They fixed that a while back. So yeah, you can actually safely pull a boss onto this male mental here, so as it dies. So now I think we're pretty much ready to go. I think we're going to pull the boss on, and then we're just going to get popping on the boss, and this boss really does hurt. So make sure you stand inside the bubble shield at the beginning, pop everything, go nuts. We got Bloodlust up, we got everything, and then the first soaks are going to come out. Now generally I don't really soak. I only soak if the vials that he's throwing are going into like a pretty bad position. The dot that they get really hurts. So if you've got a priest and you communicate with him, maybe you can all soak and then he master spell or something. The hunter is going out to turtle this first gold drop thing. And yeah, if you get the gold drop, obviously you can run out another walk. That'd be very useful to your party. So we've got the rogue who can evasion it, the hunter who can use turtle on it, and I'm actually saving my blurs for the fan mail. The fan mail really hurts, and then you just want to be helping out, picking up the what they called undisclosed goods or whatever it's called, those little bomb things on the ground. Here we go for a little jump, a little teamwork jump there where we throw it to one guy and he disposes of it. And yeah, here I'm going for a soak because it's kind of in the middle of the room, and then we actually get that master spell, which is pretty nice. Now again, fan mail, you want to try and blur those if you can. Here I think I'm going to darkness this, and we get pretty bad RNG. I'm pretty sure the only one that doesn't get hit is the tank. And that's probably the one guy that doesn't matter if it gets hit. As you can see though, this is on a 27 fortified, and that took like 90% of my HP. So if you are not topped up and you have to soak the gold dropping from the sky, just pop a health potion to make sure you're topped, because that thing, it can kill you if you're even like 70-80% HP. So you need to be completely topped for that one. There's a lot of damage going out, so any way that you can help out your healer in this boss is going to be huge for your group. So that's why I am blurring on the fan mails, because I believe that is also physical damage, so I have a chance to dodge each hit of that. And if I don't dodge it, I'm at least getting a damage reduction, which is nice. Again, if this had gone on me and not the hunter, then I could move out. I've got Netherwalk ready, and at a certain point you do want to commit to the boss here. I think we're doing one more round of disposed goods because it's 20%. Actually, we might just commit here. I'm not 100% sure. No, I think we're going to do these. Yeah, we're going to do these ones, and then if it's like sub 15% or so, we actually got insane RNG on the spawns. No, we didn't. We got 2 in the goo. That sucks. Yeah, if the boss is like sub 15%, you don't have to worry about disposed goods. You have about 25 seconds from when you start spawning them to kill. So if we get another one now, we would not do them. We would just go for killing the boss, and not, we wouldn't soak any of these. The only reason to soak these vials, by the way, is if they're going to be in the way. So sometimes, you get to a point where the floor's so messy that the files are just going to spawn on top of old patches. So obviously you don't need to soak those ones. But yeah, pretty good boss, very healing intensive. So as I said, if you can help out your healer in any way, then definitely do so. Now going into the streets game, I just let those other 2 go. Usually in pugs, I feel like I'm always the guy doing the maze. But here, these guys, the other 2 DPS, the healer and the hunter just went and fucking smashed it out, to be honest. Me and the rogue are just chilling here, hitting this infiltrator. Just, doing all the damage while those guys mount up. So you can get a 2-person mount We've got, I think it's the hunters on the rocket, and he's just on this 2-person mount while the healer picks up the thing off the ground, and he can just move then at mounted speed around and do it. So they do it like super quick. We're already done, so we're just killing off all this trash now. We got to finish off the infiltrators for extra count, because I think our count messed up a little bit, so we get an extra stack of our shrouded buff, and we get the count, plus, you know, just cleaving everything down kind of while we're moving. Like, there's no point standing and DPSing if you can move and DPS, right? Obviously casters would have that issue where they're getting left behind, but for us, we're triple melee, so like we can just run while damaging instead of killing everything and then running, right? So we save a few seconds there. The tank's kind of, he's got enough aggro that he's just chilling with it, and now we can just sit on this strong arm while he runs down to the boss. Like, you see me and the rogue just continue to hit this strong arm now, while everyone else is just kind of positioning themselves at the boss. Like, there's no reason not to be hitting this guy right now, because he has to die, right? And I'm getting straight on the infiltrator, picking up my little saxophone, and as soon as everyone's got their instruments, we're going to be going straight over to start dashing around for the runes here to get our haste buffs. So as you see, I'm kind of far away, but I actually fell rush into the extra action button. Oh, by the way, for this dungeon, it's bad luck on Sleep Cloud there, good dispel. For this dungeon, you definitely, I'm getting trolled by the Sleep Cloud. You definitely want your extra action button keybound. It's going to help out very much with this boss. It's going to help out with the post boss as well for disposing those goods into those air vents. You just pick them up, run over to it, extra action button, click, it's done. And then on this boss, it will make the dashing much easier for, you know, the phase when there's not much going on, but especially when the actual boss is activated. I'll tell you about it in a second when he comes. But on these trash parts, just organize your interrupts. Usually the tank just takes a security guard interrupt with the menacing shout, and everyone else just interrupts the patrons. You can interrupt them with your actual interrupt. You can throw your stun on them like Fell Eruption. You can use your AoE stun as well to help them. And sometimes they also enrage, in which case you just want people to soothe them. So our rogue can shiv and our hunter can trank shot. So we got a nice little comp for that kind of stuff as well, with like the double soothe and things like that for when mobs do actually get those enrages off. Now my interrupt is this patron on the right, because I took the saxophone. My interrupt is the right side patron when they spawn, and then the tank saves for the security guard every single time. So as I said, there you go, there's my Fell Eruption going down. And yeah, you can just help out any way you can with CC. Sometimes the patrons also teleport away, in which case you can just follow them and interrupt them, or the DK can just grip them back in and things like that. So pretty easy, this part of the trash. Just watch out for the green swirlies on the ground. We're constantly calling green shit, so that's always going off as you see the enrages go out here, but we get one dead and soothe on the other one. So we should be good now, because that security slam hits the tank really hard. If he was enraged, our tank might have even gone down there. So that was a really nice soothe we did there. And then we get back to our positions to stack up our haste buff again, and then the actual real boss will come out. So on this boss, I'm making sure I fell rush out of that green shit, because I almost got caught on like my left ankle again, as I usually do with those kind of things. If you're greedy a little bit, you'll probably pay the price, to be honest. And he's going to run to the middle of the room and do this suppression spark. You're going to move out and then look for where your runes spawn on the ground, and as soon as the pop goes off, you have like a second or two to dash through your runes. And what that's going to do is extend your damage buff that you already have from stacking up in the other phase. So what you do, you dash through those 4 lines, you know, before the boss spawns, it stacks it up, and then every time he does suppression spark, I pop blur because it lines up anyway, and then you just want to wait for him to do the suppression spark, wait for the little circle around you to pop, and then instantly dash through your runes. So you want to be looking for the runes while you're getting sucked in, and just moving out so you're not cleaving people, looking for the runes, and as soon as they're popped, boom, then I dash, and that keeps your buff up. It'll keep the haste buff, it'll keep the damage buff, and it's just a nice little extra damage buff for this boss. Other than that, super easy, just dodge the frontal, the crowd control ability, make sure you go behind him. The thing I look for is this little orange cloak. So I don't look at like where the shield is or stuff like that. I look for his little orange cloak to make sure I'm behind him. And another telling thing is if your abilities are actually doing damage. If you see immune or absorb, then you're obviously not behind him, right? And here you can actually door of shadows up to the top with a few tries. I have it obviously on a little at cursor macro there, so I can just spam it until it starts casting, and I know that I can jump up there. Sometimes if you have a warlock, they lay a gateway down. It just helps get people out that room a little bit quicker. It probably only saves like 5 to 10 seconds, but it is what it is. You know, every little counts in these kind of timed scenarios. And now we're going for a nice little shroud onto the next trash. So we're a little low on count, so I go ahead and I pull this infiltrator over here. I'm going to pull this infiltrator. I think we go triple infiltrator here, which is kind of troll to be honest, but we are just focusing one down at a time and cleaving the other ones. So, you know, it's still I guess a time save. We're getting a lot of damage out of it as well from having the stacking buffs up. They give like 1% each one as well. So getting one infiltrator here, we're getting another set on the left side in the second as well. And I think the hunter pulled the one from inside. Meanwhile, our priest is gonna now go and activate the boss RP. I believe there's 2 sets of RP. So you can activate the first RP, and then there's another one to activate the boss RP. I think he activates both. Again, these peacekeepers, they're the same mob as on the other side. When they do that phalanx shield, you can just interrupt it with either your cage or one of your various stuns. So your Chaos Nova or your Fellow Eruption. I go for the meta here because I know that I'll have it back up for the boss fight as well at some point. And though this pool got a little bit spicy, people were saying like, okay, we didn't mean to pull all of this. So we got triple infiltrators. I just popped my meta. Still doing the lowest damage, but it's fine. I'm okay with it, guys. I'm not sad about DH or where it's at right now. And then, yeah, I'm jacking my interrupts out and things. Maybe I go for the imprison here. No, it's on cooldown. But yeah, I will have that meta up for the boss anyway. Plus, it's not even that big of a deal. Like, on the boss, meta is not that big of a cooldown. I'm already going to have permanent Sinful Brand with the build because I'm playing Chaotic Anguish anyway. So, you know, it should be absolutely fine. I should have the damage that we need. So we actually get like pretty much good perfect timing with actually we're actually waiting around for a minute, so we've got time to eat and things. I'm actually eating right now. I think we just activated the first set of RP, and then the boss is going to charge at us, and we're going to save Bloodlust here for the robot. Now there's a reason that we Bloodlust on the robot and other groups don't. Most groups run a warlock, and that is really useful because they can pull out the imp, and they can dispel the second AoE debuff, which does tons of damage, especially on tyrannical. We don't have that luxury, so we only have one dispel, although we do have a priest with a mass dispel, so he can mass dispel the first set and the third set, but then other than that he's only got to dispel one, and the other people just have to survive. So for me, I nether walk it, the hunter sometimes turtles it and things because we have trouble surviving it. It's a lot of damage. If you have a warlock, it makes it much easier. So the first guy, he doesn't really do that much. You just move out of his AoEs, and when those, you know, when the balls come down from the sky, you move into the safe spot, and then you just move into the old safe spot when the first ones blow up because it comes in 2 waves. Other than that, we're literally just, you know, moving out of this big suck explosion thing and waiting for the robot to come. Now, as soon as the robot comes, that's when we're going to Bloodlust. And yeah, this guy is probably, I'd say, the hardest of the 3 mobs in here. Mainly because of this damage debuff. As you see, with the master spell goes down there. I'm putting my focus onto that guy. The little golem boy just goes off, and then he's going to put the shield up. Now what I do is I just kind of stop pressing my buttons so I'm not locked out on global cooldown as soon as I see that shield going up, and I just instantly do DH purge, DH kick. So it's just like purge kick, like within, you know, purge is on the global, so I make sure I'm not global locked, instant purge, and then kicks off the global, so I just kick straight after. So something that you can do to really help your tank and also stop yourself wasting any damage, or your group wasting any damage into that shield, and therefore put that damage into the boss instead. Now after the shield, he's obviously going to do the thing where he vents out the expulsion. You want to be watching the timer on the debuff of that person who's got the little soaky debuff, the blue circle. Make sure that if you're soaking, you definitely have that debuff, because it can change at weird intervals, like while he's venting. And some people are like, okay, I've got the debuff, like I'll go in and soak the balls, and it runs out, and then they kill themselves. We had a couple. It's actually our 3rd attempt at a tyrannical streets in this video, and we had people dying to that where they were just mismanaging the debuff. So I'm actually making extra care to be like, all right, it's running out in 3 seconds, it's running out in 3 seconds, debuff's changing in 3 seconds. Like, I'm calling it all out so that people don't get confused, and we're actually just playing it safe. Now the robot, again, as I said, we bloodlusted on him, and that's because we think he's the most dangerous. You want, you know, dealing with him plus the the gold fuse goblin sucking you in and doing the spin and stuff like that is quite annoying at the same time, because you do want that guy dead in the corner just to make the soaking of the balls a little bit easier. So we bloodlust just basically to get that phase over a little bit quicker. Once he's dead, pretty easy fight. Literally just dodge the balls and don't be greedy. This boss is super easy. This gold fuse one, she seems like the scariest one, but she's actually the easiest. Person with the debuff, just stand between the robot and her and basically defend your group from the balls. If you can, you can run around, pick them up and stuff, but you're really just kind of like standing on your teammates to make sure that they don't get balls go on them, because then they have to do less dodging, you get the damage bonus, and then just moving out for the whirling annihilation, which is the spinny suck, and just making sure you don't hit any balls when you don't have the buff. You should have someone soaking on the party anyway, except in the spinny suck, maybe they run off and pick them up. But yeah, super easy. Just position yourself on the other side of the boss that the robot's on, and the person with the debuff just kind of stand on the boss or between the robot and the boss, and you should be absolutely fine. She's super easy, and yeah, this boss finally goes down. And now we don't have bloodlust for the last boss, but I think the last boss is pretty easy, to be honest. So yeah, we're absolutely fine for time. 7.5 minutes, 7 minutes 45. We just got one dude left, which is the guy standing at the little teleporter up to the last boss. He'll probably take maybe about a minute or so. We're going to have our rogue go up to start the RP. So we're actually going to mind soothe this so far guy. And the rogue's going to go up, start the RP, and jump back down. Meanwhile, we're going to kill this guy, because we can 4-man it absolutely fine. The reason we send the rogue instead of the healer is so that the healer can stand in range and the two people that get linked together hopefully will go on a melee and the healer, so we don't have to deal with it. But the rogue actually got it from upstairs as he was jumping down, so that was fine, but they didn't get the little suck mechanic somehow, so that was absolutely fine. But that's the reason that we sent the rogue and not the I could have also done it as well, but the reason that we kept the healer down was because we thought the link would go on the healer and one of the melee DPS. This guy's super easy if you just tank him in the corner. He never puts the grenades out onto you if you just keep him in the corner. Healer just stands on the other side of that little pedestal thing, and we all stand just behind the boss, and it's super easy. Should go down really easy. He doesn't really do any damage except to the tank, where he does like a spinning kick thing. If no one takes a grenade and if no one walks together with the link, then you should be completely fine, which is good. Now we have 6 minutes pretty much for the last boss, and we actually kind of, I don't know, it messed up a little bit here. As you can see, we're not in combat, nothing's here. I did see an owl just float down, so maybe that's what screwed us over here. I'm gonna splice the clips together, because we actually had a wipe on this boss, because Sparkcaster from downstairs, which was nowhere near to any of us when we went upstairs, because it would have obviously come in while we were fighting Zafar, right? But it just teleports in and it goes evading. I don't know where this guy came from. We hadn't CC'd anything, we hadn't tried to skip anything, but this guy just teleports in and starts casting on us. So we actually wiped because we messed up our kicks, because we were kicking this ad, and then we didn't have the kicks for when he jumped away, so kind of caused the wipe. It was really, really terrible, but we got a bit sad and we were like, oh my god, the key's over, we depleted, and then we were like, let's just go again, and we actually managed to salvage it right at the end. So we came back from the wipe and we started the pull, going into it right as is. So now we're a little bit pushed for time. We only have 3 minutes and 35 seconds to get this boss down now without bloodlust, so we are shitting it a little bit. Honestly, this boss, as long as you do the dance correctly, he doesn't really do that much. Like, he puts a bleed on people with the quick blade. If you can spread out for that, like you see there, we got 4 bleeds on us, so that's quite hard for the healer. If you just kind of take a step back and spread out whenever he does the quick blade, you should only get the bleed on like 1 or 2 people or so, unless you get really, really unlucky. So that's like one way you can save your healer, some pumping, and he can actually do damage instead. And then just make sure that you do the dance nice and early. A trick that I do is just look where he's spawning the little circle, and you just see where you can go. So here it's obviously going to be triangle, and if you ever get kind of like lost with it, you can kind of just jump back and forth. I don't think it will ever cross the same 2 portals at the same time, so I don't think like it will ever cross both triangles at the exact same second. So even if you don't go, if you get a bit confused, it's better to just do it slowly than to die. Like, you don't need any real healing while that's going off. So for example here, I could take triangle. I think I do actually. I take triangle and then I just jump back through triangle again, or I would have jumped back through triangle again. to dodge it there. But as you see, our priest has got it. He's healing himself. I'm pretty sure it actually goes down, so I went for a res in a second. But fortunately he jumped over to my side, so I'm getting a little bit scared now. We actually had, it was such a clean run up to this point. We have 4 combat reses, if you see, and I'm gonna go and try and jump onto the healer for a res here. Oh no, we got one. We went over and we DK resed him. I think it might have been a different key. I actually went to find him or find someone and res them because they were out of line of sight. So yeah, now we're just basically dodging. Play it safe, as I said, is very, very important. And this boss shouldn't give you too much difficulty. If you can manage your kicks for that double interrupt, which it seems to go fine in most pugs, to be honest anyway, and just take your time with that circle that he spawns, you should be completely fine. We're getting a bit pushed for time, obviously, just because of no bloodlust, and we used all our cooldowns and stuff before. But as long as you can keep some decent uptime and, like, you know, around 20k DPS each person, you should be fine. Yeah, he's 20% now. We've still got a minute left. I think at this point they're like, oh my god, it's so close, and I'm like, boys, it's fine, because we're gonna do one last circle dodge here, and then after that we can kind of commit to the boss again, like in the postal room. If the boss is below like 10, I'd say on this boss maybe 10%, you can just commit to the boss and move back. So here he's spawning another one, and I just say, like, look, we can just kill the boss, like we can just move back. You see we've got this whole aisle by those tables. We can use all that space to just dodge this. It's like 2%, 1%. We actually did go for the jump for some reason. I think that we could have just moved him down the edge of the room there and we would have been fine. But yeah, I guess we played it the safe way. And we still had 30 seconds left, even though, yeah, we had that weird wipe at the end. I don't even know what happened with that Sparkcaster, but yeah, good key. Again, key things to take away is first boss, bring those potion of unhindered passings. Really, really nice. I wouldn't use it on like a plus 15, right? Because the cage will die so quick. But on a high key, even on non-tyrannical, even on our fortifieds, we use these potions. So make sure you bring those. It's better than a DPS potion, in my opinion. That's all the real trade-off is, right? You're saving one DP. You're not using a DPS potion, and you can instead dodge the entire mechanic for your entire team. That's definitely more damage gained for your group than a DPS potion, right? And then obviously menagerie boss, if you have a warlock, it's going to make the robot phase much easier, to the point where you probably don't need to bloodlust. But for our comp, that is what worked best for us. So again, just kind of like manage things around whichever composition you're running, and yeah, be buying that extra action button, and you know, use it on postal boss and oasis boss, and you should be all good. So thank you guys for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed this commentary. I've got loads more up on my channel. If you want to check any of those out, I'll leave my little playlist on screen for you now. You can have a little look through those. And I do have a Demon Hunter Mythic Plus guide, full big guide, coming out very soon. So subscribe if you want to, you know, be notified when that one comes out. You could even hit the little bell and also like the video. Okay, I'll see you next time, guys. Have a great day, and as always, peace.